Spring has finally sprung here in down East Maine, at least a little bit, and so I wanted to show you guys my yard. That's my forsythia blooming nicely now finally. You can see that the leaves have just started to come on the trees, so just a little bit of green, hint of green there. And I do have a few tulips coming up in this garden that I've been struggling to get going here for a while. So yeah, we are gonna have spring this year, I guess. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Heidi from My Reading Life, and I'm here today to film an update, sort of a May reading plans and what I'm currently reading video. So it's kind of a hodgepodge today. Just wanted to get this video put together because there's a lot of sort of odds and ends, bits and bobs here that I thought would be interesting for you all to know about, and sort of will keep everybody up to date on what's going on here with me. So the first thing I want to mention is that I have now been on Booktube for a whole year, which doesn't seem possible. It doesn't seem possible that a whole year's gone by and I have been doing Booktube videos for, 365 days plus now. I first uploaded a video in the beginning of May in 2017, and I didn't really have any expectations for how many people I would like to have subscribed to my channel. I just knew I wanted to join in the conversation that I saw happening with the folks that I was watching on Booktube. And I can tell you that my expectations, which were very low to begin with, have been greatly exceeded. I've recently had a little jump in my subscriber count. Hello to everyone who's new. Thank you for joining in. I hope that you're finding some content that you find interesting and entertaining. And so I'm up around 750 subscribers, which seems like a whole lot of people that I didn't expect would be interested in listening to me talk about books. So welcome everyone, and I hope that I will continue to keep you watching throughout the next year. The next little bit of updating I wanted to do is sort of my reading plans for May. I don't generally do a TBR. Sorry for that phone ringing in the background. We'll just ignore that. So I don't normally do a TBR, but this month I do have a bunch of reading plans that will necessitate sort of planning out my reading. So the first thing I want to mention is that I participated last weekend in the Big Book Weekender, which was a themed reading weekend that was envisioned by Simon over at Simon Savage's channel, Savage Reads, and I will link his video down below where he talks about the weekend, the Big Book Weekender, where you read large books over the course of 3 weekends in 2018. And the first of which weekend was last weekend, the first weekend in May, which evidently was a bank holiday weekend in England, but here in the good old US of A, it was just a regular 2-day weekend, but that didn't matter. I still wanted to join in, and so I picked up Lonesome Dove by Larry McMurtry. This is a Western, sort of a modern classic of the genre, I would say. I had tried to read this a few years ago and had only gotten about 80 pages in before I put it down. I just wasn't in the mood for it at that time, but I knew that it was a book that I did want to go back to. It's so highly praised by so many people, and it just seemed like something that I would enjoy. So I picked it back up again this weekend, and I am so into this book, guys. This is an excellent book. I am on page 419 of this like 850-page novel. You follow these 2 Texas Rangers. I'm super bad with names, but one of which is Call and the other one is Gus. And you follow them. They've sort of semi-retired from being Texas Rangers and have started this ranch on the Mexican border, the U.S.-Mexican border in Texas. And Gus is just a great character. He's like one of these folks that if there's no reason to work hard, he can't see the point in working hard. He's a philosopher, kind of maybe a drunk, who knows. And Call is the opposite. He just works from sunup till sundown. He's constantly busy. He doesn't like to laze around. He's not interested in deep thinking about anything. He just wants to put his mind to work so he doesn't have to think about things. So they're doing the ranching thing, but it's not really going anywhere. And then they decide that they should they should move out, get one last cattle drive, and head up north to Montana and become cattlemen in Montana, which is not settled at this time. This sort of takes place after the Civil War, the last gasp of sort of Western frontier in the United States. The characters are awesome in this. The only thing I will say is that the women are not treated well. There are a few women characters in this book. They're not treated well. And they sort of have attitudes like they don't expect to be treated well, and maybe that's a product of their times and their professions and their upbringings, the different women, but it can be difficult to read about. So warning there for, you know, women are not treated well. I'm just going to leave it at that. But enjoying it greatly. Didn't finish it during the weekend, but I feel pretty pleased with myself for getting over 400 pages read, and I do plan to finish this up in the next couple of weeks. The next thing I will be reading in May, I haven't started it yet, but it's ready to go on my e-reader, and that is The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. That's a fiction novel that was published several years ago. It's had a lot of acclaim. Madeline Miller's Circe just came out recently in the last month or so. Lots of people on Booktube have been reading both of these novels and enjoying them. I am finally going to read Song of Achilles, which I've had on my Kindle for at least, well, since it came out, I've had on my Kindle. And I'm finally going to pick it up and read it because of Jessica Reads Things, who is hosting a read-along of this book this month on her channel and on a Goodreads group. And I will link her video where she talks about her read-along down below. And I'm so pleased that she decided to use this book for her read-along because it is giving me the impetus to finally pick this book up, which I've been wanting to read for a long time. But for some reason lately, I just have not been picking up ebooks. Haven't been picking up my Kindle to read ebooks that I own. I'll pick up my Kindle to read ebooks that I borrow from the library, but for whatever reason, I'm not picking it up to read ebooks that I own. So this is kind of a dual boost to not only read a book that's been on my TBR for a long time, but also to pick up my e-reader and read something that's been on that for a long time. So I'm really pleased about that. The next thing that I will be also participating in is a read of Foreign Soil by Maxine, Beneba, Clarke. I don't have a copy of this to show because it is on its way to me from Book Depository. Maxine Beneba Clarke is an Australian author, and we are reading this with Russell over at Ink and Paper blog for his Read Around the World book club, Read the World in 1,000 Pages book club. I'm sorry, Russell, I've gotten that wrong, but I'll type it up here somewhere so you can see what it is. So this month we're reading an Australian author, and this is a collection of short stories, which I'm very much looking forward to reading when my book ever arrives from Book Depository. And then I have two more book buddy reads in the month of May. The first one will be with Doris over at Aldi Books. We're going to be reading River of Doubt by Candice Millard, which is a nonfiction book about Teddy Roosevelt's trip up the Amazon River. So I'm really looking forward to that. And then at the end of the month, starting on Memorial Day, I'm going to be reading Jamaica Inn by Daphne du Maurier with Patrice Jones. So two buddy reads there at the end of the month that I'm looking forward to. A couple of read-alongs, which is awesome, and then the big book. So that's 5 books already out of my month that are planned to do with other people, which is super awesome. And then for what I am also currently reading along with the Lonesome Dove, I picked up this graphic novel, Relish, My Life in the Kitchen by Lucy Kinsley. This is a memoir, a graphic memoir. You can see here the graphic style. It's really an amusing and touching memoir of Kinsley's life, and basically how her memories are tied to food, whether it's eating food, smells of food, cooking food, just all the ways that she has been, her family's been involved with food. They, you know, her mom has been in the food business from catering and selling cheeses and all of these different things. And so Lucy, right from the beginning, has been involved in food as well. Her parents did split up when she was younger, but they both have a love of really good food, really fine food, and they have instilled that love of food in Lucy. But she is not a food snob because she also still likes McDonald's and donuts, so you gotta love that. I'm just finding this book really amusing and just a light read, and excellent for, you know, when you just need something to relax with. I only have that much left to read. I could have finished it in one sitting last night, but I got tired and had to go to bed, so I do plan on probably finishing that up tonight. And then I have 2 books out from the library, which this book was borrowed from the library, Relish. And I have 2 more books out from the library, which I will be getting to soon. And the first one is another graphic novel. This is Blue is the Warmest Color by Julie Maroh. I don't know too much about this other than I have seen this on many people's channels be recommended. And it's about a junior in high school, Clementine, who is exploring her sexuality. So we'll see what I find out about that one. And then I have a nonfiction to pick up afterwards. This is Ghosts of the Tsunami, Death and Life in Japan's Disaster Zone by Lloyd Parry. And I believe, I don't know, I haven't read the cover flap, and I heard about this, I don't even remember now. I think I heard about it on a podcast, and I think it's been up for a prize recently, and I don't remember which prize list I heard this listed on, or I saw this listed on. Actually, I think I do remember now. It was over on the Lonesome Readers channel. He just did a video about, I can't remember the prize now. Isn't that awful? I don't remember the prize. I'll try to write it down below here what the prize name was. But I think this was on it. And this is all about Japan after the tsunami in, what year was it? 2011, when the tsunami hit the coast of northeast Japan. And this explores what happens to people in the aftermath of that disaster. And I think this is probably going to be super sad, but also will give me a lot of information that I don't know much about, because I mean, other than the fact that, you know, this happened, I don't know much about what happened afterwards. So I think this will be a great learning experience. So that's it. That's what's been going on with me recently and what I am planning for the month of May. I hope that you are all doing well and that spring has finally made it to your home if you live in the Northern Hemisphere. And I'm sorry, all you Southern Hemisphere people that are headed into fall and winter. Because I'm just coming out of winter and I am so much looking forward to warm weather and green leaves and green grass. I need to see green around me for a while. And I will talk to you later.